Welcome, grasshoppers, children. It's time for the final exam. Now, it's not a final exam, it just happens to be the last test of the year. And as usual, I'm going to read each question to you. Take your time, listen to the question, look at the answer choices, think about what the question is asking you, and then select the best answer choice. Okay? Let's go. Number 1. Electrophoresis is a method of A. Separating DNA fragments. B. Changing the genetic code of an organism. C. Separating colored compounds on a strip of paper. Or D. Indicating the presence of a starch. Question 2. Which one of the following statements concerning production of offspring is correct? A. Production of offspring is necessary for a species to survive, but is not necessary for an individual to survive. B. Production of offspring is necessary for an individual organism to survive, while the other life processes are important for species to survive. C. An organism can reproduce without performing any of the other life processes. Or D. Reproduction is a process that requires gametes in all species. Question 3. Which one of the following statements concerning proteins is not correct? Which one of the following statements is not correct? A. Proteins can be broken down and used for energy. B. The shape of a protein molecule determines its function. C. Proteins are long, usually folded chains. D. Proteins are bonded together, resulting in simple sugars. Question 4 refers to this picture right here. The diagram below shows a cell that's associated with coordination. Which one of the following statements best describes the function of the entire structure shown in this diagram? Is it A, it synthesizes a hormone involved in the control of blood sugar? B, it releases chemicals involved in cellular communication? C, it controls the replication of genetic material? Or D, it unites with an egg during fertilization? Question 5. Question 5 says the diagram below represents two molecules that can interact with each other to cause a biochemical process to occur in a cell. They're labeled molecule A and molecule B. Molecule A and B most likely represent A, an antibody and a hormone. B, a protein and a chromosome. C, a receptor and a hormone. D, a carbohydrate and an amino acid. Number 6, which row in the chart below contains an event that is paired with an appropriate response in the human body? All right. So is it answer choice A, row 1, which says the event is a virus enters the bloodstream, the response is increased production of antibodies? Or is it B, row 2, where the event is fertilization of the egg, the response is increased levels of testosterone? Or is it C, row 3, dehydration due to increased sweating, the response is increased urine output? Or is it choice D, row 4, a drop in the rate of digestion, the response is an increased respiration rate? Question 7 refers to the following. You see this bar graph. Incidence of 3 human diseases in 4 different years. Right? The number of cases is the y-axis, the years are the x-axis. And there are 3, diabetes, measles, and pneumonia. Based on the data shown, which statement best explains a change in the incidence of disease in 1970? Is it A, the bacteria that caused pneumonia developed a resistance to drugs? B, new technology helped reduce the incidence of all 3 diseases? Or is it C, new drugs cured diabetes? Or D, children were vaccinated against measles? Number 8, which 2 organ systems provide materials required for the human body to make ATP? Is it A, digestive and reproductive? B, reproductive and excretory? C, respiratory and immune? Or D, digestive and respiratory? Number nine, a single cell and a multicellular organism are represented below. There's a single cell and multicellular organism. Which structures are correctly paired with their function? Is it A? A and G are responsible for transmission of nerve impulses. Or is it B? D and F are responsible for gas exchange. Or is it C? B and E are responsible for photosynthesis. Or finally, is it answer choice D, where C and H are responsible for digesting food? Number 10. The diagram below represents 3 human body systems, A, B, and C. Which row in the chart below correctly shows what systems A, B, and C provide for the human body? So is it A, row 1, system A provides blood cells, system B provides glucose, and system C provides hormones? Or is it choice B, which is row 2, system A provides oxygen, system B provides absorption, system C provides gametes? Or is it answer choice C, which is third row? System A provides gas exchange. System B provides nutrients. System C provides waste removal. Or finally, is it answer choice D, which is row 4? System A provides immunity. System B provides coordination. And system C provides carbon dioxide. Man, we're about a third of the way through the test, and hope you're feeling pretty good. Okay. Yep. Remember, it's only a test, but next week, your Regents is more than a test. All right, let's continue. We're showing number 11. We're into the realm of constructed response where you need to write out your answers in the form of sentences. Read the questions carefully. What are they asking you to do? Like number 11. Number 11, select one of the paired items below and describe how the first item in the pair regulates the second item to maintain homeostasis, right? So there are 3 choices. You're going to pick one of them. You're either going to write about how insulin regulates blood sugar level, or carbon dioxide in blood regulates breathing rate, or activity of guard cells regulates water loss from leaves. You pick one of them and you write. I would write in complete sentences, ratty, whenever you have. Remember, restate the question, answer, give some details, right? Explain. Number 12, another constructed response. All right. It says the diagrams below represent some of the systems that make up the human body. And you see there's pair 1, pair 2, and pair 3. And in each of those pairs is 2 different body systems that are represented with their pictures. You have to do 3 things. Select one of the pairs of systems, and write down its number. So either selecting pair 1, pair 2, pair 3. For the pair you select, identify each system and state one function of that system. And then finally, C, explain then how the 2 systems would work together to help maintain homeostasis in an individual. All right, so I would write in your answer A, B, C, like write out the letter A, B, C, and answer those, all 3 of those. Make sure you've answered everything. And write, like question this B here, you need to have 2 things. Identify each system and state one function of each of those systems. Question 13. Question 13 refers to the following. Cells of the immune system and endocrine system of the human body contribute to the maintenance of homeostasis. The methods and materials these 2 systems use as they carry out this critical function are different. Listen to the question. The question says, state 2 ways the cells of the immune system fight disease. Number 14 is a constructive response, but really this is a one-word answer, all right? See this diagram right here? Okay. And I'm thinking this diagram, if we had seen it before a couple of questions ago, would have helped us answer another question. So like, I would say when you do your Regents, take a look at all the questions, because there might be diagrams and things that may help you answer questions in other parts of the test. Anyway, number 14, Identify the organ labeled X in the diagram shown. All right, finally back to multiple choice questions. Number 15, a major reason that humans can have a significant impact on an ecological community is that humans, A, can modify their environment through technology, B, reproduce faster than most other species, C, remove large amounts of carbon dioxide from the air, or D, are able to increase the amount of finite resources that are available. Number 16. One reason why people should be aware of the impact of their actions on the environment is A, ecosystems are never able to recover once they've been adversely affected. B, the depletion of finite resources cannot be reversed. C, there's a decreased need for new technology. Or D, there's a decreased need for substances produced by natural processes. Number 17. Some people make compost piles consisting of weeds and other plant materials. When the compost has decomposed, it can be used as fertilizer. The production and use of compost is an example of A, the use of fossil fuels, B, the recycling of nutrients, D, the introduction of natural predators, or D, the deforestation of an area. Number 18. The ivory-billed woodpecker, long thought to be extinct, was recently reported to be living in a southern swamp area. The most ecologically appropriate way to ensure the natural survival of this population of birds is to The most ecologically appropriate way to ensure the natural survival of this population of birds is to A, limit human activities in the habitat of that bird. B, feed them daily with corn and other types of grain. C, move the population of birds to a zoo. D, destroy their natural enemies and predators. Number 19. Some organisms are buying up sections of forest land. Once purchased, these sections of forest will never be cut down. The main reason for protecting these sections of forest is to A, cause the extinction of undesirable animal species. B, prevent these trees from reproducing too fast. C, maintain the diversity of the living environment. Or D, provide more land for agricultural purposes. Question 20. In most states, automobiles must be inspected every year to make sure that the exhaust fumes they emit do not contain high level of pollutants such as carbon monoxide. This process is a way that humans attempt to A, control energy flow in natural ecosystems, B, control the water cycle, C, maintain the quality of the atmosphere, or D, recycle nutrients from one ecosystem to another. One likely reason that some experimental automobiles have been developed to use electricity rather than gasoline is A, Earth has an unlimited supply of fossil fuels. B, the use of electricity will increase the manufacture of anti-pollution devices for cars. C, the use of electricity will eliminate the need for all anti-pollution laws. Or D, gasoline is made from petroleum, which is a non-renewable resource. Question 22. The negative effect that humans have on the stability of their environment is most directly linked to an increase in A, recycling activities by humans, B, supply of finite resources, C, predation and disease, or D, human population size. We're 2/3 of the way through. Come on, shake it out a little bit. We gotta buck up here for the last little bit of this test, but we can do it. If anybody can do it, it's you and I together. We can rock this test. All right, let's continue. Many farmers plant corn and then harvest the entire plant at the end of the growing season. One negative effect of this action is A, large quantities of water are produced by corn plants. B, corn plants may replace renewable sources of energy. C, corn plants remove acidic compounds from the air all season long. Or D, soil minerals used by corn plants are not recycled. 24. The importation of organisms such as the Japanese beetle and the gypsy moth to areas where they have no natural enemies best illustrates A, the use of abiotic factors to reduce pest species. B, a human activity that disrupts existing ecosystems. C, the selection of species to mate with each other to produce a new variety. Or D, attempts by humans to protect extinct species. Number 25. In state forests and parks containing varieties of flowering trees and shrubs, there are signs that say, "Take nothing but pictures, leave nothing but footprints." These signs are necessary because A, flowering shrubs grow best in state forests and parks. B, removal of flowering trees and shrubs will increase biodiversity. C, humans can destroy habitats by removing flowering trees and shrubs. Or D, all animals feed directly on flowering shrubs that may be removed by people. 26. Some homeowners mow their lawns during the summer. I do. Some homeowners mow their lawns during the summer, collect the grass clippings, and dispose of them in a landfill. I don't do that. Instead of taking the clippings to a landfill, a more ecologically sound procedure would be to A, burn the clippings and add the ashes to the soil. B, leave the clippings to decompose on the lawn to form materials that enrich the soil. C, throw the clippings into a stream or river to provide extra food for organisms that live there. Or D, spray the clippings in the lawn with imported microbes that use them for food. Number 27. Which of the following results of technological advancement has had a positive effect on the environment? A positive effect. A, development of equipment to speed up the process of cutting down trees. B, development of new models of computers each year with disposal of old computers in landfills. C, development of new models of cars that travel fewer miles per gallon of gasoline. D, development of equipment that uses solar energy to charge batteries. Question 28. Oh, constructed response. All right, so it says the graphs below show dissolved oxygen content, sewage waste content, and fish populations in a lake between 1950 and 1970. Right, so this is the dissolved oxygen, sewage waste, and these are the different fishes. Your task is to state what happened to the amount of dissolved oxygen and number of fish species as the amount of sewage waste increased. This is a constructive response. Again, ratty this question. 29. Oh, another constructed response. Over the past few decades, many oil companies have discovered oil below the seafloor near the coasts of many states. Some states, however, refuse to permit offshore oil drilling, fearing it might damage the environment. Discuss both sides of this issue. In your answer, be sure to, remember, we're going to do two things. State one way in which offshore drilling might have a long-term negative effect on the environment. And then B, state one way in which offshore oil drilling could actually benefit society. So you're going to play both sides. Question 30, which is another constructed response, refers to the following. Gardeners sometimes use slug traps to capture and kill slugs. These traps were tested in a garden with a large slug population. Here's the food web. And there are the slugs right there. Organisms found in the trap after 1 week are shown in the table below. Right? It shows the number of organisms captured in the trap. Oops. In a process known as biological control, natural predators that prey on plant or animal pests are used to control the populations of these pests. Identify one organism in the food web shown that could be used as a biological control to replace the slug traps. So, based on this information, what organism would be most beneficial to replace the slug traps? All right. Question 31. Fighting pollution with bacteria. You may think that all bacteria are harmful. Think again. Some bacteria are working to clean up the damage humans have caused to the environment. In 1989, the oil tanker Exxon Valdez hit a ground and hole was ripped in its hull. Millions of gallons of crude oil spread along the coast of Alaska. In some places, the oil soaked 2 feet deep into the beaches. There seemed to be no way to clean up the spill. Then scientists decided to enlist the help of bacteria that are found naturally on Alaskan beaches. Some of these bacteria break down hydrocarbons, molecules found in oil, into simpler, less harmful substances such as carbon dioxide and water. The problem was there were not enough of these bacteria that handled a huge amount of oil. To make the bacteria multiply faster, the scientists sprayed a chemical that acted as a fertilizer along 70 miles of coastline. Within 15 days, the number of bacteria had tripled. The beaches that had been treated with the chemical were much cleaner than those that had not. Without this bacterial activity, Alaska's beaches may still be covered in oil. The process of using organisms to eliminate toxic materials is called bioremediation. Bioremediation is being used to clean up gasoline that leaks into the soil under gas stations. At factories that produce wood pulp, scientists are using microorganisms to break down phenols, the poisonous byproduct of that process, into harmless salts. Bacteria can also break down acid drainage that seeps out of abandoned coal mines and explosives such as TNT. Bacteria are used in sewage treatment plants to clean water. Bacteria also reduce acid rain by removing sulfur from coal before it is burned. Because Americans produce more than 600 million tons of toxic waste a year, bioremediation may soon become big business. If scientists can identify microorganisms that attack all kinds of waste we produce, expensive treatment plants and dangerous toxic dumps might be out of business. According to the reading the passage, the chemical was sprayed along the Alaskan coastline in order to A. Increase the population of bacteria. B. Wash away the oil that had been spilled. C. Introduce new bacteria to the beaches. D. Dissolve oil that was spilled on the shore. Question 32. Power plant calls for windmills off beach by the Associated Press. Several dozen windmills taller than the Statue of Liberty will crop off of Long Island, the first source of offshore wind power outside of Europe, officials say. The Long Island Power Authority, LIPA, expects to choose a company to build and operate between 35 and 40 windmills in the Atlantic Ocean off Jones Beach, the New York Times reported Sunday. Cost and completion dates are unknown. Energy generated by windmills would constitute about 2% of LIPA's total power use. They're expected to produce 100 to 140 megawatts, enough to power 30,000 homes. But some Long Island residents oppose these windmills, which they fear will create noise, interfere with fishing, and mar their ocean views. This is from the Democrat Chronicle, Rochester, New York. Your task, though, is to state 2 ways that the use of windmills to produce energy would be beneficial to the environment. This is our last question. This is the last test question on this exam. The next time you see a test question that counts, it'll be the Regents. Question 33. Human activities have had a major impact on biodiversity. Scientists cannot solve this problem alone. Concerned individuals need to be involved in restoring and maintaining biodiversity. Your task here in your constructive response is to state one specific action that you as a student can take in your community to help maintain or increase biodiversity. And that's the end of the test. You're like the powerhouse of living environment, I'll tell you what. All right. Test will be great. If you need to take it again, of course, let me know. You've got until Tuesday to take it again and get the best grade you can. And then Wednesday is the Regents. Hope you rock it.